So thank you everybody for participating, and welcome to the first info session for our new partnership with Ducere Global Business Schools, which is an excellent opportunity for both CBC grads and anybody in the future really that's interested in seeking out higher education. And but more importantly, the real path and opportunity we saw was for our CBC grads to have an opportunity to continue to elevate themselves within their current workplace and provide obviously extra credentials to improve their career. So that being said, we thought this was a match made in heaven, being a business college and getting involved with a global business school. That I'll let Matt explain a little bit more. But thank you, Matt, very much for doing this for us, and we look forward to many more of these.
Awesome. Thanks, Dean. Well, we're equally excited. So we're going to just jump in, call out if for any reason people can't see the presentation properly, but very excited to be working with CBC and the great team and offering opportunities to expand education, particularly with executive MBA formal university programs. So I'll just kind of jump in and tell you a little bit about how we work and the types of degrees that we have. And please, anyone that's interested, ask some questions in this webinar or follow up with CBC and request a one-on-one meeting. Some people, prefer to do it one-on-one, and some people prefer to just ask questions in a group environment. So whatever works. But just to jump in, so we are a US-based global university group, and we design and deliver all sorts of bachelor's and master's degree programs. And the opportunity at the moment that we're focusing on is the Executive MBA, which is formally awarded by the University of East London, big public prestigious British university, which we'll get into in a bit more detail. So we're really going to talk about a scholarship opportunity for CBC alumni for the Executive MBA for this year, for 2024, for the intake later in the year. And we have a number of other programs too. So if for some reason you think, it's kind of interesting to do an MBA, but maybe this isn't the right program, we have numerous MBA programs accredited by different universities around the world. So having said that, I'll just jump into the CBC collaboration for the Executive MBA. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because we do try to keep webinars to just 30 minutes for, not taking up too much of people's time. But we're going to send this presentation following, and of course, reach out one-on-one or ask questions after. We'll be hanging back after the sort of formal presentation ends to answer any questions. So I'm going to rush through some parts, but the key item here, just to go right into the core of everything that we do, really both with CBC and Ducere Global Business School, is to design education that is career-focused, industry-focused, practical, applied, education that genuinely helps people in their jobs, in their career. That is the whole focus for everything that we do. There is a very, very strong ROI basis for most of our students all over the world to do an MBA. Of course, people are doing it for the learning. They're doing it because it was a dream, something that they always wanted to achieve. But fundamentally, it's the best investment that our students will ever make, investing in themselves, and the return on investment is absolutely huge. And this is based on government research and publicly available data about increased earnings, opportunities for promotions, more senior jobs. That's really the focus, is on the hard numbers and actually getting a direct financial return. The structure of the MBA is 12 months online. There's 5 core subjects and 1 major industry applied project, which is a team-based project. That's it, 12 months online and 6 classes altogether, the 5 core subjects and 1 industry applied project. 100% online. The degree is actually tailored to the individual's job and career, which we'll talk about a little bit more, with applied work-based assignments. There are no exams in the entire qualification, which is pretty exciting for many people. I don't think anyone enjoys doing exams, but even more importantly, exams on universities' own research has been demonstrated to be the least effective way to actually teach and retain knowledge. but it still is a mainstay of most universities. We focus on practical applied projects that are more meaningful. So getting into that concept I mentioned of being the most industry relevant career focus, what does that actually mean? So there's a couple of aspects there. One is this idea of to be the best, you need to learn from the best. So that is learning from hundreds of world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, Nobel Prize winners, billionaires, entrepreneurs, CEOs, chairmen, heads of the CIA, heads of the UN. In Canada specifically, we have 2 former prime ministers as well as business leaders. So you're going to be learning from everyone from a Malaysian prime minister to an African billionaire. So the most successful, inspiring people is who we've actually built this curriculum with. This is globally unique. There's no university in the world that has this level of real world leaders built into the university curriculum. And that says a lot because, Harvard and Yale and NYU are great institutions, but they don't have this level of practical industry leaders in their curriculum. And we actually have, as part of our global leaders faculty, professors from Harvard, NYU, Yale, Oxford, and other institutions. So one key takeaway is that you're learning from the best people in the world in this online environment. The second key takeaway, so there's 2 really key aspects of us being the most industry relevant. So one being the world leaders. The second being tailored education, the applied projects that I mentioned. Tailored education to your career. So these are some examples of companies we work with. And I'm not going to go through all the detail, but underneath it talks about examples of particular projects that they worked on. So let's say one of the people on this call is working at BMO, Bank of Montreal. Now, if that manager wanted to do an MBA at McGill University, nothing wrong with McGill University, very well ranked, very well regarded institution. But you'll be doing their degree. If someone goes to Yale, you'll be doing their degree. So that person at Bank of Montreal will be told you have to write a paper on FedEx or write a paper on an oil company. And they're probably thinking, I'm heading up customer service strategies at a modern bank and I have to write a paper on an oil company. Not really sure how that's relevant. Here, every single project would be on a strategic project of Bank of Montreal. So you're really, really customizing the program to solving strategic challenges within your business. And that has a number of really important flow-on benefits. One critical advantage of that is it overcomes the traditional barrier of time to doing an MBA. All of our students work full-time. They're 100% employed at banks, at airlines, tech companies, marketing companies, whatever. They've got families, they've got personal commitments. And so one of the big challenges is, how am I going to find the time to do an MBA? Well, if you're working at a bank and you're separately doing an MBA over there that's completely disconnected, it's almost like you have 2 jobs. Here, it's a work integrated MBA. So if you're working on projects that you really wanted to do anyway in your business, whatever those critical challenges or opportunities are, maybe you're looking at an AI project and how AI can help you create efficiencies in the business. Maybe you're looking at a market entry strategy because you're working for a Canadian business that's thinking of expanding into Mexico and you're looking at a market analysis for the Mexican market. They're the projects you're working on in your MBA. So you're not doing it completely disconnected and separate. It's embedded as a work integrated MBA. So that overcomes that time objective. The objection, the second great flow-on effect is there's obviously no guarantee of financial support from an employer with any education program, but our students are positioned in the best possible way to get employer financial support. So by going to your employer and saying, not only do I want to do an MBA, but I'm going to be working on strategic projects that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to the business. It would certainly cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you went to external consultants to work on these level of projects. And, would you support me to get this MBA, whether it's 100% tuition support, 50% tuition support, whatever your employer supports is an advantage. And I won't go through the videos and stuff, but again, when I send the link, feel free to look at this after, but just to show you an example.
Sometimes people come out of universities and they don't quite have a number of practical skills that really matter.
So essentially, you've just got industry leaders from billion-dollar companies talking about why this applied project-based strategic learning model is so effective. The actual learning itself, it's a really intuitive, it's the fastest growing learning management platform in the world. It's really easy to use. Honestly, if we sent just a login to students and said, you can go and start your learning, the students would be able to figure it out. But even with that, we have a full 1 week onboarding where we go through everything, the program, the delivery, the resources, templates, study tips. So we really try to make it as supportive an environment as possible. We work with many of the biggest brands in the world. A little bit about University of East London. So this is a program designed, built, and delivered by Ducere Global Business School in North America. So you're dealing with a modern, responsive, customer-focused, student support-focused institution that is extremely responsive and incredibly supportive. You'll only be dealing with Ducere staff all the way through your MBA with our professors, our student support. But you are legally and formally enrolled as a student of a public British university, the University of East London. So you're legally a student of the University of East London, and at the end of the process, you get your piece of paper that says Executive MBA from the University of East London, British public university from the 1800s, ranked in the top 5% of universities around the world. Major campus in London with thousands of students. And a really cool part is, even though it's 100% online, you actually graduate on campus in London, cap and gown, on stage, getting your degree, which students love. For us, we won awards and recognitions from every part of the world, from North America, from US Congress, state of California, UK EdTech Awards, Australian Education Awards, higher education awards and recognitions in Africa, pretty much all over the world. A little bit more on accreditation and memberships. Again, investing in your future. And then I'll just mention here is kind of the last technical aspect before we kind of get into some potential questions and any other feedback from CBC. So entry criteria. This is really, really interesting. So ordinarily in Canada, you are required with any university to have a completed full bachelor's degree in order to apply to any Canadian university to do an MBA. Here, we recognize the real-world practical skills. You've studied a professional program with CBC, you've got years of work experience, and you can go directly into our 12-month online MBA. So whether you never went to university to get a bachelor's, if you started a bachelor's but never finished for some reason, or if you have a completed bachelor's, in any of those scenarios, you can go directly into the Executive MBA, and you're completed in 12 months online. Now, that's the standard time frame. You can also do part-time, so those 6 classes over 12 months, you can do over 2 years part-time. So you can do 3 classes a year for 2 years, which makes it really, really manageable if anyone's concerned about the time and ability to complete the MBA. So that's on the timing. And the entry, 5 years management experience if you don't have a formal degree. Some of our MBA programs require 3 years of management experience. So if you didn't qualify for the Executive MBA, you maybe would qualify for our Global MBA or our MBA in Leadership. So there's various MBAs, and again, CBC can chat to you about the options there. Then we've got the tuition. So this program is ordinarily $24,000 US, and the entire degree with a scholarship based on being a CBC alum is $15,160. So with conversion rate, I think it's just around 20,000 Canadian dollars, but it's $15,160 US, paid over 12 months. It's not paid in advance. Or if you're studying part-time, it's paid over 2 years. Most executive MBAs in Canada run at close to 100,000 Canadian dollars, up to around 120,000 Canadian dollars. So it's a very, very streamlined, affordable, practical, world-class MBA. And we, as a social enterprise, want to make the program as affordable as possible, break down all of the barriers and make it as affordable as possible. But even that is still sometimes a challenge. So there are finance options. You can get interest-free financing over 2 years just with us without having to apply anywhere. But you can also get a provincial government loan because this is a registered designated university by the Canadian government. So you can get a Canadian provincial loan. You can also utilize, again, because this is a designated university, you can also use your retirement funds to fund education. Normally, retirement funds are purely for retirement, and you can't really use them to buy a car or go on a holiday or anything like that. But there is an exemption for formal higher education. It's a loan, but it's an interest-free loan. And this is an investment. So you're essentially taking a loan from your retirement fund, you pay for your degree, and then you're repaying that loan. I think it's 10 years. Don't quote me on that, but I believe you have 10 years to pay it back. But you're also earning, the idea, of course, is on average, you're earning far more money than what you would be paying for the MBA. So it's a really, really strong investment. And there's multiple finance options on how to fund that. I mentioned that we're a social enterprise. So I think a really great thing that many of our students are passionate about and love is that we're not just a private for-profit training institution. We're a social enterprise with a fully registered charitable foundation, and money from the business school for these types of degrees fund the education philanthropic work across the entire continent of Africa, supporting programs across 27 countries, literacy programs, publishing programs, degree scholarship programs, all sorts of things, which is very cool. And that's pretty much the formal presentation. So can you see yourself as an MBA candidate? That's actually another video with quite an extensive list of students talking about, you know, how they were initially skeptical or, you know, very worried about whether they could succeed in an MBA, whether they would have time to do it because they have multiple kids and a job, and how it was just such a greatly supported program and how they were able to succeed and thrive and ultimately graduate that dream. So again, I won't show you the whole video, but just as an example.
The market out there when looking for a job is quite competitive, and by having something like this under your belt, it would support that career progression.
So yeah, there's, as I say, like 5 minutes of different student stories there. So I'm just going to stop the share screen. And I think there we go. And we've got pretty much about 7 minutes left just in terms of time on the webinar. The next steps, and CBC can just call out where to get in contact with Canadian Business College in terms of how to get in contact for booking a one-on-one meeting. There's no application fee. There's obviously no cost to have a consultation meeting. So, you know, I would encourage everyone to just have a chat and talk about what are your career goals, where are you currently at, where you want to get to, and we can, you know, talk through options and see if this is potentially a right fit or not. But otherwise, there's quite a few participants on the call. Feel free for anyone to jump in and put a question in the chat. I can see someone's got a raised hand, but I don't know if there's audio. Ducere, let me just see if I can allow audio. It says talking permission now. So do you want to see if you can ask a question via audio there, or if not, you can throw it into the chat. No, maybe not sure if there still was a question there because the hand's gone away. But just while we're waiting there, if anyone has a question, please let us know. But otherwise, Dean, where's the best location for people to get in contact, email or phone, or what's the best way for people to get in contact to then book a one-on-one meeting to discuss individual needs and whether this is the right fit and how our scholarships and financing works?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, excuse me. Obviously, when I go to talk and it doesn't come out, that's interesting. So, yeah, so we're gonna just use info@canadianbusinesscollege.com. I'm just about to post it in the chat so that you've got it. So anybody that wants to learn more or have that one-on-one discussion, where it will be a discussion between a CBC team member and a Ducere team member, which allows us the opportunity to sort of discuss all things or learn. We know obviously one-on-one people sometimes can ask a little bit more and learn a little bit more about how it fits to them specifically. We'll also make sure that you've got a link to some of this information after the webinar is done. But in the meantime, info@canadianbusinesscollege.com. So I have put it in the chat for everybody. So that's how you could reach out to there. And then what we'll do is we will schedule the appropriate parties for a time to have that conversation.
Excellent. Thanks, Dean. Well, I'm not sure if we just did such an awesome job at presenting all of the details, or if we've just kind of shocked and stunned everyone, but there's not too many questions coming up. So I think, again, just in conclusion, and the email address is in the chat there that everyone should be able to see. So thanks for posting that, Dean. I would definitely encourage everyone to just have a chat. Because there's no downside in really seeing if this is the right fit. It's not necessarily the right program or the right fit for everyone, but what we genuinely believe is that everyone should be making an informed decision, looking at the various options, seeing what the individual career goals are, and trying to get that dream of an advanced degree. And we would love to see you all in London next year, cap and gown, graduating. That would be really cool. There's no actual requirement to go for certain personal reasons. Sometimes students can't go, but the majority do. Many go on their own just to, get that acknowledgement and get that degree. Many take their whole family and use this as a great excuse to, visit the UK or visit Europe, and also go on stage and get that photo op and get that degree. So we'd love to see all of you with us in London next year, but I'd encourage everyone for now to just book a 30-minute, one-on-one meeting with CBC and Ducere and see if this is a good fit while this scholarship opportunity is available. And that's pretty much it from us. Thank you so much.
Zita has her hand up again, so I'm not sure if she's able to speak or not, Matt. But
yeah, I can see the hand there. Let me just
Yeah, can
see.
you guys hear me? Sorry, I'm having a bit technical problem.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I just have one question because how intense will be like the assignment, the exam, as like for a person like me as a full-time like worker. So I'm thinking maybe I don't want to extend my learning journey to be 2 years. I rather finish it in 1 year, but also kind of get me concerned like what will be the intensity about the assignment and the exams. Do you have anything to say?
Great question. And just quickly, Zita, what industry are you in?
I'm a financial advisor.
Okay. So a couple of points there. Firstly, in terms of assignments, there's no exams for assessments. There's no formal exams at all. So you're never cramming and worrying about an exam that you have to study for and pass. It's all project-based assessments. So that's one thing. And the reason I asked about the industry is not only is it assessments, you would be working on projects that are relevant to you in financial services and financial advisory. So let's say you're working in a company, and I'm making this up, of course, because I'm not sure about the details, but let's say you're working in a company that's just based in Toronto, but you're thinking about opening an office in Montreal. And so you want to do a research analysis, market strategy, competitor analysis. So on one hand, you're doing that project for your MBA. So you might say, oh, well, I'm spending a couple of days working on an assignment for my MBA. But on the other hand, are you really spending time on an MBA, or is it work that you wanted to do for your financial advisory work anyway? So it's not as clear cut as you have a day job here and how much time am I spending over there in my degree. A lot of it is really integrated into the job. Having said that, we kind of estimate to assume about 10 hours a week over that year is a good indication. But in reality, a lot of that 10 hours a week average is working on stuff and projects and assignments relevant to your business. So it's not really an additional 10 hours, but you could call it 10 hours a week, but a lot of it is applied and relevant to your job. But only project-based assessments and no exams. Almost all of our students do study full-time. They do it over 12 months because they'd rather, like, I just want to get it done. You know, it's going to be a bit of work, but, 12 months and I'm finished. So that's how most of our students would study. It's not all or nothing. So you can study full-time, do a couple of classes, and if you feel like, you know what, this is a little bit intense, you can go to part-time. That's very rare because it is so manageable to fit in around your work. There's no mandatory classes that you ever have to attend. So that's another thing. It doesn't impact on your work or anything else because you don't have any live mandatory classes that you must attend. Now, you have many live classes that you can attend, drop-in sessions, study tip sessions, lectures. And if it works for you and you want to attend, great. You can then engage, you can ask questions, but everything's recorded. So if you're like, no, I just want to get up on, early on a Saturday morning and do my studies, you can do that. You can watch any videos, you can access all the materials at any time, 24/7 that suits you. But this is designed for full-time employees with families. The record that we have, I'm based in Los Angeles. The record that we have is someone in Los Angeles who has a full-time job and 11 children. 11 kids is our record so far. I don't know if anyone wants to even try that because that's kind of intense. But, more realistically, we have stories about like amazing female managers that have to take their kids to swimming at like 6 a.m. For swimming practice. And they say, they sit in their car with their laptop and they're waiting for 2 hours for their kids in swimming practice. So that's when they do basically their studies. So, it can be just really flexible to fit around the requirements of each individual.
Thank you so much for a very explanatory answer that you just gave me. Thank you so much. This really helped me to make a decision as well. I really appreciate it.
Oh, perfect. No problem at all. Excellent. I can't see any other hands up. But again, please reach out, schedule a call because, there's never any harm in getting the information and understanding the options. And we would certainly encourage that. And as I say, we would love to have, all of you great CBC students, alumni working with us for that next evolution of your career journey. And if we can help in that journey, that would be a great privilege for us too. So thanks, everyone. And thanks, Dean. And thanks, Patrick, for hosting today. And Maria, thanks for putting this all together. So, yes, thanks, everyone. And we're pretty much finished on time, which is pretty cool too.
Perfect. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Everybody have a
Cheers.
wonderful day, and we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.